Well, thanks for tuning into Sermon Slice today. I'm Pastor Jay, and Sermon Slice is a portion of Sunday's message for weekday application. And I trust that this will be a good week for you and that you'll be able to use the podcast today and this Sermon Slice clip as a way to help further your walk with God. We've been in a series on the Holy Spirit the last number of weeks, and this past Sunday I was speaking on what it means to be empowered by the Holy Spirit and to know of the release of God's power in our lives. I quickly made reference to the life of Christ in the book of Luke chapter 4. When Jesus went into the desert for 40 days of temptation, it says he was full of the Holy Spirit. He needed the Holy Spirit within him for sure in that experience. In verse 14 of Luke chapter 4, it says that Jesus came out of the desert, went to Galilee, and was led and was filled by the Holy Spirit's power. Wow, that's cool. Jesus himself would need the power of God working in him in a time of life like that. But when we think about what it means to live for Christ and to walk with him, we desperately need God's power to help us. We cannot do this walk of faith in our own strength. We need the power of God to help us. And as I looked into the book of Ephesians chapter 3, verses 14 to 21, we looked at how the Holy Spirit wants to dwell within us and bring the power of God into our hearts, into our being. And Jesus himself takes up his residence, his home in our hearts. And so we have not only the power of God and the Holy Spirit working in us, we now have the love of Christ and the full dimension of that love working in us. The passage says that the length and the breadth and the height and the depth of Christ's love. I think so many times we overlook that. We forget that. We get very casual about Christ's love. And I challenged each of us, let's renew, let's refocus, let's come back to our first love and let that transform us. Let that make a difference in our lives, how much Christ loves us. And I think if we lose touch with that, we're losing an edge in our spiritual journey. So let's kind of ramp that up again and what it means to fully embrace Christ's love and what it means for us. Well, that passage, verse 20 and 21, the ending of the passage in Ephesians chapter 3, talks about the fact that God is able to do immeasurably, infinitely more than what we ever ask or think. You know, sometimes I don't think we ask big enough. I don't think we think big enough. It's too easy for us to say the quick prayer for to have a good day, or to find a good parking spot, or to find a good sale when we're out shopping. I guess those are all good things, but those aren't the big things that God's wanting us to be thinking about. He wants us to think about major issues and things in our lives that we know that it's only if the power of God is released that something is going to change. So I challenge each one of us this week to raise the bar when it comes to releasing the power of God in our life. Let's get past ourselves. Let's get past our own abilities. And let's really start to cry out to God in a meaningful way, saying, God, we need your power to bring change and transform this or that, whatever it is that you're praying about, whatever you're talking to God about. Well, I pray that it will be a great week for you. I look forward to hearing stories of how God is at work. And we're going to finish off our Holy Spirit series next week with the theme, Surprised by the Holy Spirit. You know, that's the one thing about God, that we cannot put God in a box. We're not able to contain him and make him fit within our own minds. We have to be ready for God to move and to have his way. And so I trust that God will surprise us and he'll do incredible things beyond anything we can ask or imagine. Hey, thanks again for tuning into Sermon Slice. We'll see you next week.